Hello, RWorld, and welcome back to another episode of RWorldTalk. I say this all the time, but I'm really excited for this one because I've got my good friend, Miss Karen Johnson, with us today. How are you, Karen?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So good to see you. Always so good to see you.
Likewise.
Over the years, you've become an absolute great friend to me, and you've always been a fantastic mentor, still keeping me on my toes to this day and making sure that I always shine bright. Or not shine. You tell me when I got a shiny face, so we take care of those things too. You are a absolute rock star realtor. You were the president of RWorld in 2019 or 2020?
21.
2021. Okay. So our president from 2021 did some great things, even though you ended up having one of the COVID years, which kind of sucked for you to have to go through that. But you led us well through the pandemic. What are you up to these days? How's business going for you?
Business is good. No complaints, never complain. Very positive always. We're back to normal times. And you get to show your value. I'm really excited by that because business has been consistent. It's been good. And things don't take a day to sell anymore. It goes back to 40 days, 30 days, depending on the market. Means you're doing your job. You actually show your value. So very, very thankful for the business that we have right now.
Yeah, perfect. You always have to be showing your value, even when we're in a really hot market.
Correct.
Because there is so much competition out there. But what sort of things have you done now that the market has cooled off a little bit with interest rates and whatnot? What are you doing to market yourself these days to really show your value and show somebody that you're the one to go with?
Well, being authentic, being transparent.
You are always authentic?
Yes, I am authentic. I say things, I don't sugarcoat, as you know. I say it as it is because I give real expectations. I care about my community. I care about the people I work with. And I get to choose my clients now, which is really a good thing. Not everyone is your cup of tea, and that's okay. I may not be everyone's cup of tea too, but you also work really well with other realtors in the business, and it's great. It's never competition. It's always we work together for the best of our communities, for our best interest of our clients. No egos. No egos.
No egos. Yeah, check the ego at the door.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk to Ms. Johnson over here.
Absolutely.
So over the years, you carved out a lane in the higher end of new construction sales, representing buyers or sellers. How did you get started in that niche, and really how successful have you become because of it?
Well, I started off selling $40,000 condos when I started in this business. And I actually had a lot of foreign nationals because you reach out to your sphere. So Canadians, Trinidadians, I'm a former New Yorker, so I know a lot of people from everywhere. Kept in touch with that, and new construction came around. Financing for new construction came around for foreign nationals. And that's how I probably started, because most people, they realized that same $40,000 they could have used as a down payment, waited a year and get something brand new, and their investment is better because they can buy a better, a higher end product and get a higher return on it. So that's how it started. I would say taking those $40,000 condos, foreclosures, short sale market was big back then. And those clients, I probably started with one told the other one, and I started off with like maybe townhomes, selling those, and that cycled. Also, I live where I sell. That was very important. And I probably sold maybe over 120, 150 new construction homes in the area from 2010 to 2018, 19, 20, around there.
Okay.
And so you know a lot of people, you make communities, and those people that's 6 years old into the communities are usually selling on to getting a bigger home. Who do they call? You keep in touch. I'm a big player on social media, nothing paid for, anything like that. But you know what? If you're not on social media, people don't know what you do. So I kind of mix business as well as pleasure. And so you're a real person. But I'm selling where I live. Your reputation is extremely important, so you always have to do the right thing.
If somebody has not seen you on social media, they must be living in a cave, because you are all over the place, and you're the selfie queen, always taking pictures every single event that we go to. So you hit on something important, working with the international investor, the international buyers, excuse me, and having a start in New York. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey and what you were doing in New York?
So I moved to New York when I was almost 18 years old after my father passed away to go to university.
Okay.
And
from Trinidad.
18
years old, by yourself, going to...
I moved to Chicago. I lasted 2 months in winter and then moved to New York. So yeah, it was, I loved New York. It was the perfect place at the time. And the first people I met were international students.
Okay.
So my roommate was Brazilian. We had a girl from Japan, a guy from Germany, one from Dubai, and we created a bond.
Okay.
And you did. So I knew no one from where I was from, which was good actually, because I exposed myself. I came from a very multicultural background, multi-religious, multicultural. So we were very open-minded. So we had do the secret knocks to go into bars and, that kind of fun stuff. Did New York exactly, take the subway, always lived in a really safe environment, but actually met a lot of people and was exposed to a lot of things.
Okay. Do you still stay in contact with those friends?
A lot of them I do. So
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of them I do. I have, you've been to my parties. I have friends from preschool at parties too. So I do a good job of keeping in contact. So while in college, I was doing a finance degree at St. John's University. Was bartending and waitressing, loved it, met a lot of people. So that's where my sales business started.
Okay.
And got into banking at 19, was a residential processor. And back then, 19 years old, really wanted to get into commercial. And they needed a female volleyball player on the commercial department. And I had a finance degree, and that's how I got into commercial. So
really?
Training from an analyst to an underwriter, training and dealing with brokers. And that's how it started. When Washington Mutual, which is dating myself, came into New York, I was their first underwriter hire. And I underwrote $1 billion in loans that year, large multifamilies. And really, really was always very sales driven, even though I was an underwriter. So I came from that commercial background. And the opportunity came to come to Florida. And obviously, I'm from the Caribbean. Florida is somewhere that my heart always craved. We would come and look at these beautiful homes. And one day the opportunity came. So they paid my down payment on my house, packed me up, unpacked us. We sold our house in New York and we moved to Florida. And that was it. And It has been home since 2005. And I would not change it for the world.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, we're glad that you're here. So 2023, let's go to, actually, you know what? Before we go into that next question, why don't you tell us, you just got back from Carnival, and that is something that you and your husband do religiously every single year. And we talk a lot about analytics. We talk a lot about real estate. We talk a lot about all kinds of things on this podcast. Let's talk about a little bit of fun. Tell us about what it's like, what that experience is like to go to Trinidad and go and experience Carnival.
So Carnival in Trinidad, which a lot of people may not know of, is like the second largest in the world after Brazil. And Carnival started after slaves were emancipated and ran into the streets, and they took these drums and anything they had, and they started to bang it and make these noises, and they were parading on the streets.
Okay.
And they took flowers and they took whatever they had to adorn themselves. So that's how Carnival started.
Okay.
So it is a celebration of freedom.
Awesome.
And so people may look and be like, oh, she's a business person and she's wearing this little thing. And mine is really covered up compared to a lot of people.
But it's culture.
It's cultural, right? And it's the president, the prime minister, every CEO is on the street doing the same thing. And they have so many visitors that come. But it's a celebration of freedom. So right after Christmas, they start with parties and all of that. And it's just beautiful, the sense of freedom that you have. So you work hard and play hard. JP and I have been doing this for close to 27 years. Oh, wow. Every year we missed a year or two. We had, children. Yeah.
You were telling me that the food is exceptional, and a lot of times these parties are like all inclusive. And
so
food laid out, and it's not just dancing in the street. It's days worth of.
Yeah, there's days of activities, and there's different levels of parties and stuff. Some of them are really expensive. Some of them are affordable as well. But it's a true all-inclusive experience. You walk in, you have high-end champagne, so there's a beautiful venues, DJs, performers, and we have a group of friends, probably like 40 of us that travel together everywhere to go. It's just beautiful. It's just something, and you find this energy. And I think Carnival Tuesday, which is the last day before Ash Wednesday, and then everybody's back to being, proper and exactly.
It was funny because you were telling me we just had a long road trip together. And you were telling me that in the days or in the months leading up to Carnival, which coincides with Mardi Gras as well, that's when all the new soca music comes out.
Yes.
So everybody's listening to that music. Then you go to Carnival and you party, and then you get back home and everybody just goes back to their 90s rock and roll.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Because Chris listens to my playlist too. So you being away from home, and you will always call home.
Yeah.
You hear the music and it brings back great memories. But we grew up on the same as Chris did. My playlist is very similar to his.
Yep.
From the
we were
80s
singing
and
along
90s.
every song.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so now we'll get to the next. So, okay, we're going to go back to professional questions. So 2023 obviously was a bit of a challenging year. When we got into sort of the third and fourth quarters of 2023, we saw things were, sort of stall out. But if there was going to be a magical month in 2024 for great business, what do you think that month would be?
Well,
when do things really pick up for you?
Usually spring. Well, commercial is consistent throughout the year.
Yep.
But for residential sales, most everyone is looking. The area that I work at, their school starts in August. So by April usually is a really, really busy month. April, May, I would say as well. But
so that way people can make the moves over the time when the kids are at school.
Correct. And then selling the houses and stuff. So you need to know what schools and what times and that sort of thing. You also have to know when the people from the Northeast, when our market was just the Northeasterners, but now we're having people from Chicago, California, Texas coming to Florida because it is just the place to be.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to know when is spring break, when they will be coming to look. So you have to learn all of this. They're not expecting a rate decrease until end of June or early July, which is going to not be great for us.
Right.
It would encourage a lot more buyers, but at the price point that it is, you would say April would be the month.
Okay.
To identify that.
April will be a nice month for business, and then hopefully we end up having a good fall market.
Correct.
If the interest rates were to come down over the summer, that would be fantastic. So to Parkland and Coral Springs, two areas that you do the bulk of your business. What makes those areas unique versus, say, your larger stepbrother up in Boca Raton?
So I just think because it's a lot more, especially Parkland, it's a lot more compact. It's a very, it's the childhood that my kid has, the childhood I had, hanging in the neighborhood, being with friends, just knowing. So it's not as big, and we don't have a lot of people coming in and out. It's families that actually live there. We don't have a lot of people coming short term or anything like that. So you kind of know your community. Most of the people moved in together. So very warm, very welcoming. Most of the people are transplants as well. So I just think it's because it's a smaller scale. Coral Springs also too, they have a lot of different neighborhoods. Kids go to the same school. So it's a little bit different. It's warm. It's very suburban compared to other places.
You certainly know your community because I've seen your block parties and your clubhouse parties. How many people did you have at your birthday party? It's like hundreds of people.
It was almost 300 people. Almost 300 people. Yes.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? A lot of people, I think, we just had another guest that is going to be coming on the podcast that really thinks that the community feel and the neighborhood feel that you get out in these suburban areas that are newer construction. I mean, people really went out there for great schools. They went out there for the community feel, for all the activities, and you certainly have all of that going on in Parkland. Mm-hmm. And you were just telling me about one of the places that you are selling. You've got multiple clubhouses, multiple splash pads, multiple, gyms, and fantastic schools like you have in that northeast region of Broward County. What besides the community feel and that newer neighborhood, did you find that people that are moving out there are a lot more open to making new friends, to really embracing that community? Because sometimes, I mean, I bought a house in Fort Lauderdale, never met a single one of my neighbors, lived there for several years. It was an older community, but not anything gated, and we had I had one guy that I had spoken to over the fence maybe 2 or 3 times, and that was it. Nobody really walked the neighborhood, talked to each other, or anything like that. But when I go out to your neighborhood, it just seems like everybody's, out there on the driveway, like Wisteria Lane, waving to each other. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows everybody's business.
Well, when I moved to Florida, I did move to Parkland, and it was a neighborhood that was well established. So it was probably around 10 years.
Okay.
My neighbor thought I was renting. So I didn't, they never really were warm or anything. And I think that's the fact that it's newer, and everyone kind of moved in around the same time. So I think that's the difference with my subdivision anyway. So that's why people are warmer. When you get established, like if you live in Pompano or wherever, people are going to be, they're not all moving in at the same time. Right. So they're not as open to, they already have their friends and they have all of that. But especially when you have transplants from Miami, you have transplants from out of the country, you have from New York, you have from California, they're going to be, because the kids they're there most likely because of children for schools.
Okay.
And then we all want to move out, to the beach when the kids are all gone.
Right.
But that's just the progression of it. So you want your kids to play with people. So
when was the last time you were at the beach?
Too long. We never do. When you have visitors, usually. Yeah. But it's too cold for Floridians right now. So my Canadian family wanted to go a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, I went a couple times down to the beach, and the only thing that I did was walk the pier. I mean, my feet rarely touch the sand. I'm definitely not getting in the ocean at this time of year. But, when I do go and take a walk on that pier, I'm always amazed at how many people are swimming out in the ocean right now in February. I'm like, you obviously are not from Florida, because we'd be freezing out there.
But every time you go to the beach, you're like, wow, this is so beautiful. It's so peaceful. It's so tranquil. Why am I not here? But life happens.
Yep. Yeah. They say the salt water cures all your emotional wounds. So everybody take a chance and go to the beach this weekend. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I love about you is you get what you see. Whatever you see, what you see is what you get. And you had said that right in the beginning of this episode, but you're incredibly generous. You're incredibly genuine. You absolutely keep it real at all times. Is that something that has always been a part of Karen, or is this a persona that's been built up over time?
It was always Karen, but I think as I get older, and I'm not intimidated about things that I would have been when I was younger. I actually love being the age that I am, because I feel this wisdom is, and you know what? I don't have room for fake people. As you said, yeah. I don't have room. I would be courteous. I would be professional. But I can't be fake. So if someone just vibes me the wrong way, I will just, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, and go along my way, and that's it. Yeah. So
go find some real people in the other corner of the room to talk to. I actually have had that happen with customers. You meet somebody for the first time, and they to some people that I have worked with in the past have been very disingenuous and, like you said, fake. And you meet them, and it's just constantly talking about themselves, and it's like, my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a transaction with this person. Okay, so you actually played a crucial role in getting our Only a Realtor campaign started. Why do you think it is so essential for us to reach consumers with the messaging that we've been putting out there?
Well, I just think it's extremely critical for us to be professional, for people to realize that this is a career, this is not a hobby. This is not easy just putting something online, especially being a half COVID president. And I had no regrets about that, because guess what? We prospered. Our communities prospered. Our realtors, our advocacy effort just the whole country was attracted to Florida because of it. Yep. So I'm extremely proud of that. But I think people have to see what happens behind the scenes. It's not just my properties. I'm not posting me. I'm posting the properties. I am there to represent my seller or my buyer and make sure that they shine. But they have to see that there is, what they said, 150 or whatever parts of a transaction that people don't see. They just see, they just put this on the MLS, and that's not just what it is. And
any one of those 150 things could become a major pain point for your buyer or for your seller if somebody's not on top of those things.
Correct. And I just think people think you could just take an exam and that's it. There takes a lot of training, a lot of education. I have a master's degree and I choose to do this but I don't want to be viewed as someone who, it has to be valued as the profession that it is, because we do build communities. We do give a lot of our time. And I think it's important for the consumer to see that, and we represent them. So it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely needed. And the number of things that we do throughout any given transaction, any one of those things, like I said, could go off the rails. And you would hit the nail on the head when you talked about really building the communities that you're in, knowing what the schools are, what things people are going to be attracted to in any one of those communities that we're selling, as far as the location's concerned. And if you know that somebody's a big foodie, being able to tell them about the great restaurants that happen to be close to whatever property it is that you're trying to sell for your seller. There's a lot more than just getting a license after a week of schooling. There's a lot of training that you need to continually do with your broker, also to learn your neighborhoods, start your farm area, really be the absolute expert about every single thing that's happening in that community or in that neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Not only so that you are able to sell that property, but to make sure that the person who's purchasing is getting exactly the lifestyle that they were looking for, the reason that they came to you for it.
Absolutely. Reading up what happens in the commission meetings, know what future buildings are happening, knowing all of that, because it just makes you much more educated and you add value to your community as well. It's not just about sales. It's about your reputation.
Yeah, I live in a waterfront community, as you know, and the amount of times that I either have a neighbor or an agent that's in my office or somebody that's looking for information on all of the fixed bridges that are in that community. You've got to know what size boat you can fit under that bridge, how many times a day you're going to get through it, depending on the tides, what the different bridge heights are. And right now in the city of Fort Lauderdale and the city of Pompano, there's bridge work that's being done. So it's important to know that the bridge that's over here is going to be raised 27 inches. That's totally going to change property values in that neighborhood. It's going to change the amount of boat that you're going to be able to keep behind your house on the water. We truly are the experts that people need and know that they can lean on whenever they're making any sort of decision about where it is that they're going.
I remember you actually going to a city meeting to make sure that, because they were spending X amount of dollars on raising the bridge, and they don't know because you own a boat, right? You live there, you care about it, and spend it a little bit more would add a lot more value. And then also we have all these tides, and then you have global warming and everything like that. If they went and wasted this money, they'll have to do it again. So you're actually helping your community by saving on taxes.
Yeah, I remember going to that bridge meeting, and they were saying, well, if the bridge is going to cost this much, if you guys want to raise it up this high, then where's that money going to come from? And I said, think about the tax base for all the houses that are on the other side of that bridge and how much those values are going to go up once this bridge is raised. That's going to help you pay for part of the bridge right there.
Correct.
Okay. Well, you got any tidbits of information that you want to share with our listeners or our viewers?
Well, do your jobs. Do your jobs. Yeah, do your jobs. No, I'm just kidding. This is not fun. This is not part-time. This is a career that you should be very, very proud of. You should be very, very fortunate to be able to help people with their biggest decisions.
Absolutely.
That they are. So don't take it for granted. Treat everyone like if you're treating your mom or your sister or your significant other, or how you would like to be treated. Right? Value people, listen to people. Half of the time, the problem is you get ahead of yourselves and not listening to what the consumer wants, or your ego comes in the way. It's never about you. It's about the consumer, right? And if you live by that rule, you would be very successful. There is no such thing as a challenging market. We change, we educate ourselves. You also have to realize that you actually have to change with times as well, and find ways to reach the consumers, find ways to do things. I mean, like, for example, Chris, I'm sure you always hear too, well, why are you always networking with other realtors? We're not networking with realtors. We actually are very passionate about what we do. We love like-minded people. And sometimes we get a referral from someone who is out of state or for a major investor or something like that, because you know what? You have a good reputation and you do the right thing. So always do the right thing.
Yeah, and I think I'll piggyback on that. I think that it is incredibly important. We have a lot of realtors in the state of Florida. Incredible number of realtors.
Is it 238,000 or probably a bit more now?
238,000, I think was the last number that I had heard. But I always find it funny, and I don't know if it's people that come from other markets where maybe this was acceptable, but people try to bully sometimes. Don't be a bully. Like, it really, I mean, we've got to work with each other. We should be cooperating and collaborating in order to put these lifestyles together for the consumers that we're serving. But if I'm going to call you up and want to show a property and send you an offer, don't be a bully about it. You know what I mean? We've all experienced that. So guys, do better. Don't bully each other. Cooperate, collaborate, because the next time you might need them to help you out, and you want to make sure that you left a lasting impression on whoever it is that you're working with.
It's a small world.
It's a very small world, incredibly small. Even though we've got all these realtors in the state of Florida, the ones that are doing business and treating each other well are going to, stand the test of time and really survive and have a thriving business. So one last question before I let you get back to work. I always like to ask this of all of our guests. South Florida has many hidden gems, whether it's a restaurant, beach, hotel hotspot, anything that's worth checking out. So what's your hidden gem to share with our viewers?
I'm a simple girl. As you know, most people don't think so. I'm a simple girl. Good Mexican food.
Okay.
Yeah, good Mexican food. There is a little spot in my city. It's called Blue Agave. And JP and I make it our date nights. Started a lot during COVID.
Okay.
And it's actually a really good spot. Food is really tasty. The employees there are wonderful. They're warm. They're friendly. They know you. And it's just delicious. And they have good margaritas.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, and I'm not even a margarita person, but they have good margaritas. So
hey, you know what?
Yeah.
If you can to find some nice Mexican food, there's nothing wrong with having a couple of good margaritas. Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us. It's been my absolute pleasure to host my friend on the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure serving with you with the multitude of things that you do. I am very proud of you. I am very grateful to have you as a friend and a colleague, and look forward to many, many successful podcasts. Looking at you, I'm just so proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, guys, you heard it right there, and that's Miss Karen Johnson, past RWorld president, and we will see you guys right back here next time on RWorldTalk.